Last week, we passed the torch to Bridget Riley in England, and this week, Green Crayon and I are very excited to head over to Philadelphia and Pennsylvania in the United States. Green Crayon, are you ready? I'm really ready. Both states are in the continent North America and home to the art form modern graffiti art and pop art. Modern graffiti art was started in the 1960s by 12-year-old artist Daryl Cornbread McRae. Modern graffiti art uses a combination of words and simple images to name or tag an area and claim as their own. By the 1970s, modern graffiti art had reached New York and shifted from simple images to bright, bold colors, which are similar to that of pop art. Pop art made its mark in history with artists like Andy Warhol and Keith Haring and uses bright, bold colors. Let's merge these two art forms. K to 2 friends, we will create our version of Keith Haring's dancing figures. Third to 5th friends, we will add more elements of graffiti art into our Keith Haring inspired work. And our middle school friends, let's celebrate creating a modern graffiti art piece inspired by dance. I'll see y'all on the drawing board. Hey friends, today we're going to do our own graffiti wall. And graffiti was started in Philadelphia in the 1960s by a 12-year-old artist called Daryl Cornbread McRae. And by the 1970s, it had reached places like New York, and people had really taken a liking to graffiti. They started writing their names or even tags all over the city. So for today's lesson, we will need the following materials. You'll need a blank sheet of paper, a pencil and an eraser, a Sharpie marker, and something to create color. It could be color pencils, markers, or crayons. I'm going to go ahead and clear my board. And our choice of word today is going to be the word dance. Of course, you can choose any word that you would like. The basics are the same. What you want to do is start off writing whatever word you want. You want to press a little bit lighter. We will draw around our letters, make it a little bit more bold and stylized, and then we will erase the original font. So our choice of word today is the word dance. Now we will add a little bit more. There's my D. I'm going to go ahead and erase the original font. Let's go ahead and do the A. N. In graffiti, there's an illusion that the letters are three-dimension. I will show you how to add what we call the shadows. And our last letter, the E. Okay, let's go ahead and outline this. Of course, any letter that you do and you want to create more of a graffiti look or turn it into graffiti font, always remember, by starting off with just a pencil, you draw your letters out and then you can build on those letters. A lot of graffiti appears to have letters on top of each other, but you want to leave room just for a little bit to be hidden, but not entirely hidden, so that you don't complicate things before it needs to be complicated. I'm going to go ahead and erase. I'm going to erase those lines so it looks a little bit. Okay, I'm going to show you how to add the shadows to make our graffiti letters look a little bit more 3D. The first thing I want to do is go ahead and fill in the inside of the letters. This creates what we call emphasis, so our letters are a little bit more on the bolder side. And now I want to add, I'm going to use my Sharpie, and now I want to add elements of 3D or my shadow so that my letters appear to be coming away from the page. To do that, I am just doubling up on some of my lines. There's our D. Some parts are going to be a little bit thicker than other parts. That's going to help create the emphasis. Like this part of the A is a little bit thicker than this side. Alright, and then these little parts you can either leave them white or you can add black. If you leave them white, then they kind of create more of like a bubble effect, a little bit of a glimmer, a little bit of a shine. I'm going to go ahead and add black to it. I want it to be a little bit more bold. You can add a little bit of white at the end to this. I'm going to show you how to do that with a white color pencil. And this is just for a little glimmer, just a little added effect. Here's my white color pencil. And I'm just making a very smaller version of what already exists, creating a little extra emphasis. Okay, and now I'm going to add color to my word dance. Notice I've pressed a little bit darker down at the bottom. What you can do is press darker, and then as you move away to the top portion of your letters, you don't press as hard, and it'll look a little bit more on the faded side. This creates more of a beautiful gradient. Or you can just color it all very dark. To create the illusion that your letters has a little bit more transition, right where you create the darker part, and as you move towards your lighter area, I like to color in a more of a clockwise direction, and this fills in any of the white spaces that may be left from your page that I may have overlooked, and it also creates more of a fluid or a more consistent look. I also like to use the color white sometimes. White I use as a blending tool, and that really helps lift some of the color. We have a red, let's use a green. Clockwise motion. Same with a crayon. Markers are a little bit tougher. What you can do is double up on the amount of marker strokes that you apply onto your paper. Clockwise motion gets rid of those streaky color pencil lines that you see sometimes. What I like to do is color in the direction of my letter. This also helps create more of a three-dimensional form. If my letters have more of a circular outlook, then I want to color in the direction of those lines. I'm going to soften my pressure.
Sunrise.
Circular motion, blending in the dark into light. Circular motion also gets rid of extra white spaces, uncolored spaces that may occur from your paper. Awesome. Now let's create a nice little border on the outside. The border is just for a little bit of extra added effect. And your border is literally a very fine outline of your letters. Outline our border. Now, if you want, you can create a little bit more of a three-dimension on your borders as well. It's very similar to the letters. You choose every other space and you thicken the lines as you work. That part's going to be thicker. And then we have our word dance. Let's select a color so that we can color within that space. Let's use a color that we have not used before. Let's use the color blue. So right now I'm reversing the contrast. The top of my letters got a little bit lighter. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing darker at the top of my border, and then as I go down to the bottom of my letters, I'm going to lighten the amount of pressure. That creates a really nice visual contrast and visual difference so that you can see the difference between the two letters and the background. Okay, perfect. Now let's go ahead and create the rest of our background. Just dust the paper off a little bit. And I want to have a almost brick wall effect. I'm choosing to do this with pencil today. You can use a colored pencil, you can stick to Sharpie, whatever your preference is. The reason I'm doing pencil is because you can really see the grittiness of the graphite in the pencil. I want to make my word dance appear that it's coming through the wall. So I'm going to go ahead and draw around my word. And I want it to have the appearance that it's cracking through. So I'm just going to put a couple of extra lines. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go in and add a little bit more dimension to some of these areas. So I'm going to use my pencil. Some parts are going to be a little bit thicker than others, and that's just going to show the depth of each line. Okay, and then let's work on a very small brick background for the word dance. So I want to have some horizontal lines, and these are very free-flowing, so you don't have to be exact with the lines. There's almost a raw grittiness to a brick background. And you want to stagger the lines. Stagger the lines mean that if I drew a line here, I'll keep going with the same line. I'm going to alternate the position of the line. So my second line and my second row is going to go here. And then I'm going to have about even distance all the way through. And then right behind my border for my word dance, I'm going to have that line again, that vertical line. That, if I were to imagine that I were going to go through the second row that I just created, it would connect to the very first vertical line that I created. It's like a pattern. This is going to go here and then here. This one's going to skip one, come here, down here. Skip one, draw a line, skip one, draw a line. And even in the bricks, you'll have some of the thicker portions as well. This is just showing the rawness of the brick. It really helps if you're using a pencil for this. If you want to use a Sharpie marker, that would work as well. Just remember to thicken some of the areas. That gives it more of a realistic brick effect. All right, friends, there we have it, our very own graffiti wall, encompassing the word dance. Of course, you can change your word if you don't want to have the word dance, you want to have the word hip hop, even your name would work. Just remember, start off drawing your letters, and then you can create some bolder outlines. That was amazing work. Green Crayon is super impressed. He is. I can't wait to see these art pieces. Till next time, take care. Bye. Bye. Green Crayon cracks me up.